Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Intuition Unleashed. It is our bio or my podcast about using your intuition and finding your personal freedom. And today is my guest. I'm proud to announce Isabel Alexander. And Isabel is the Chief Encore Officer in her business, Encore Catalyst. Oh, so many things about Isabel I want to share with you. She is a life, business, and transformational catalyst. She is the author of Who Am I Now? Feminine Wisdom Unmasked. She is the host of the Lift as You Climb podcast. She is a dynamic self-made entrepreneur who overcame obstacles with an unrelenting positive nature, a farm girl work ethic. We can talk about that too in a few minutes, and a conscious choice to thrive rather than just survive. She cultivated an award-winning $10 million plus global chemical wholesale business and grew it from a dining room table to international boardrooms. Oof. Isabel's strengths include the ability to initiate and nurture strategic relationships, a love of lifelong learning, and talents for helping others to maximize their potential. An inspiring speaker with both industry and community, she's a driving force behind those with courage to follow her example of thriving against the odds. She has over 50 years of experience in business across diverse industries. Isabel is respected as an advisor, a coach, a mentor, and a role model, and she believes in sharing the collective wisdom and empowering others to economic independence. Wow, we are so lucky to have you on here. That is a huge resume, 50 years. I mean, we don't want to date ourselves, but that's a lot of experience wrapped up into one person.
Well, in fact, it's actually more than 50 now. That was written a while ago, but I'm happy. I mean, I feel like I'm at 68 years young. I'm just beginning to tap into life and understand my own talents, listening to intuition, right, Beck?
Yep. That's our whole thing, Intuition Unleashed, and we have that in common. That's why I wanted to have you on, because I think you're going to be a great asset to some of our listeners. In particular, the first thing I wanted to notice is that you said your age, and a lot of women are not excited about saying what their age is.
Well, as opposed to the alternative of being dead, I'm pretty pumped about the whole thing.
See how you reframe things? I love that.
Yeah.
So this is a 7 question in 7 minute format, but we all know by this several that you've already listened to that I'm really bad at sticking to that, but I'm going to do my best to stick to this today. So first of all, could you explain to us who your ideal client would be?
They are me. Women that are asking questions about who am I now? And is this all there is? And why do I feel like there's more intended for me? I work primarily with baby boomer women business owners, but I really am open to whoever needs a hand up and a different point of view.
Oh, I love that. And that does come through in your website too, that you're happy because you've achieved things. You're happy to be able to spread that and show other people how you did that successfully.
Yeah.
Interestingly, you kind of talked about the first 2 questions at the same time, but I have a client who is in her 60s that was just in the other day, and we know that things don't happen by coincidence. And she was really in a bad space saying, I don't like my job, but I feel like and I also don't like my friend group. I feel like people already have their set friends, and I don't really like my job, but I feel like who's going to want to hire me? Somebody that's this age. So, and I'm sure that that's probably a very common thing that you hear with the people that you work with.
It is, and to your client and anybody else, I think it's important to remember a quote. I don't know where it came from, but it's basically, you're under no obligation to be who you were yesterday. And that's what I love about helping people create their encores. And what I did myself, and that's how I developed the methodology, was understanding that I was no longer who I was. My identity that was tied to a business card didn't fit anymore. And it was that journey, sometimes very painful, of excavating who I was and who I wanted to become and how I would get there.
That's amazing. And I'm sure you have a lot to share with other people about how you do that successfully. I think another way to say that is that people get really tied into the story of who they tell themselves and who they've told everybody else that they are. And to
Yes,
say that that's a choice. You don't have to stick with that anymore if it doesn't serve you.
absolutely. And that's perfectly aligned with, one of my steps is choosing how you want to star in the next part of your life, the next stage in your life, and then writing the script for that, choosing the stage, choosing the cast and crew that will support you to create that successful long running role. And then the how-to part of what I teach is how to produce that encore.
That's amazing. Yes. And I can't wait to talk more about. All right, let me go to this is where I get into trouble. I want to ask too many questions. So you kind of went into the second question already, which is what is the problem that you solve for your ideal client?
Yeah, and it's simply that showing people that they can and how to write a new script and how to approach their future self.
Okay. So what do you see as some of the common mistakes that you see over and over again when people are trying to work with that issue?
Well, the one that you mentioned earlier, I'm too old. It's too late for me. I don't know where to begin is probably the most common one. And then there's letting go of this rung of the trapeze to take to the other one and trusting your intuition, because we don't want or dream about or wish about things that we weren't really intended to have. Right, those thoughts are there, those longings are there for a reason, but it's trusting that yes, we can, we should, and we must take the steps forward.
And definitely, I think the other thing that we see in when we're in certain age groups is that our values change, right? So when we're in our 30s, we're more concerned about how green our grass is or how big the house is. And then when you get into your 50s and 60s, I'm sure you see all the time that those values change. We don't necessarily care. We want smaller houses. We don't care what our grass looks like at that point.
Yeah, maybe smaller stuff, bigger dreams, bigger impact, bigger influence is what generally I'm finding is this whole thing about why does my life matter? How do I make a difference? How will people remember me? And that doesn't mean that you have to start a foundation like Melinda Gates, but just honoring who you are and how you want to show up in the world.
So really, the most common mistake that you see people making is limiting self-talk.
Oh yeah, I have that little bitch on my shoulder all the time. I shouldn't, like,
Mhm.
hey, right?
So what is a valuable free action that the audience can implement that would help with that issue that we just talked about?
Well, writing a letter to your future self is a very easy way for many people to get started and get over the awkwardness and the uncomfortableness of actually saying, yeah, I want something different. I know that there is more for me in life. And for me, if you're having trouble getting started around that, I really like to give some time to people to give them some ideas and some prompts. So on my website, they can sign up for a free, absolutely no obligation, 30-minute Encore evaluation where I'll help them, like be the catalyst as I am, truly am, to get them started on that path to the future they want.
That's amazing. That actually goes into the next point, which is a valuable free resource that we can direct people to. But so
It's
you're
almost like I'm reading your mind back.
it's intuition.
Yes.
I love that you're already talking about that because you're basically saying that you're so passionate about what you do that you'll give people 30 minutes of your time to be able to kind of show them how you can help them do that.
Absolutely. And that's simply paying forward what I've had over and over in my life. And that's why my personal philosophy is lift as you climb, because time and time again throughout my life since I was a single teen mom, people have given me a hand up. They didn't give me handouts, they gave me hand ups and help me get to the next rung on my own developmental ladder. And so for me, I like to be able to do that, and we can create this groundswell of people doing it everywhere.
That's amazing. I love that. I knew you'd be a great person to have on here, a great resource for these people. So is
Thank
there
you.
is there any questions that I should have asked you that would be of value to our audience that you think we need to know?
No, I think that it's good for people to understand they're not alone in these doubts, self-doubts, fears, etc. In fact, it's really normal and it's part of our evolution as humans to always be sort of wanting to grow into our next body or our next role. And it's when you stop growing and stop dreaming that's when you start to disintegrate and contract and die. So know that it's okay to feel restless and to want more. And then, damn it, you deserve it.
Oh, I love that. And
Mhm.
then the other part is that when you're hearing those messages, that it's not true.
Yeah, we could go into the science part, and there are other people that do this better than I do. But basically, it's being aware of the fact that our brains have been designed to keep us safe and keep us in little, small, safe, defendable areas. And so that's why, her name is Little Miss Bitch. Is constantly saying, "Oh, don't do that! Don't! Oh my God, you'll embarrass yourself. You'll lose money. You'll, whatever. You won't succeed." It's simply because my brain is saying, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you're going to change something, you're going to do something." And so I just have to say, you know what? Sit down for a little while, be quiet, and just watch me. Just watch me, and then you'll see it's going to be okay.
I love that. So they need to develop that second voice to feel that
Yeah,
internal voice.
a little talking back is good.
And we're taught to be good girls. We don't talk back.
I know there's
Number
some untruths there too.
question number 7. So because this is the A Revolution in Personal Liberation podcast, what is your definition and understanding of personal liberation?
Feeling really, really good about becoming the next and best version of yourself.
I love that. And you certainly help people to do that. Well, I tried to stay close to 7 minutes, but when I have a powerful guest on like this, it is very difficult. I want to thank you, Isabel Alexander, for having the time with us and for sharing your value with the audience. Her contact information is going to be in the show notes, but don't forget to look for Lift as You Climb podcast, and also look for her book. And wherever you get books, it's called Who Am I Now? Feminine Wisdom Unmasked. And I want to thank you so much for your time today and for coming on with us.
Thank you very much, Beck. It's been a pleasure. All righty. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Intuition Unleashed. We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking. But before you go, we have a little challenge for you. Most of us have sneaky little habits that hold us back and trip us up, so why not take this not at all uncomfortable quiz to find out what you do to derail yourself from achieving your goals and how you can call yourself on your own BS. Get to know your self-sabotage specialty and take the first step towards getting out of the way of your own success. Just visit becknelson.com/quiz and take the quiz now. That's becknelson.com/quiz. We can't wait to see your results. And as always, we'll be back next week with more Intuition Unleashed. Thanks for listening.